Hello and welcome back to the Household of Faith. This is our final day on the subject of setting goals, and today we're going to talk about the purpose of the Lord. Proverbs 19 and 21 is our keynote verse today. Now, we've covered a lot of territory this week, and we've talked about planning. We want to make sure that we have a plan. There is nothing wrong with, even in your spiritual growth, sitting down and after prayer and consideration, even before, to say, you know what, I want to, this is where I feel like I want to go, the direction I need to be in. And you think about it and say, okay, this is what I'd like to do, and then pray about it and see what the Lord says. And you want to write down that plan. You want to be diligent about it. You want to be plan careful. You want to be honest. You want to work hard at it. Because we know that the ultimate goal is to spend eternity in the presence of the Lord. That's it. But while we're here, you want to spell out clearly what you're doing, what your goals are, what your purpose is. You want to spell it out. You want to write it down, and anyone who could read it could clearly see it at a glance and understand what you're talking about. There wouldn't be any confusion. And know that the Lord is the one who establishes you. He's the one who decides which way you should go. So you can plan all you want to, but if you don't consult God, you're not going to get the best results possible. You're going to get some bad results, and you're not going to be happy with them. You're going to go way out of your way, and you're going to go spend a lot of time and sometimes years, and then have to backtrack and start all over. Every time you mess it up, you're going to have to start it all over. God can redeem some time for you and put you on the fast track, but that is not as easy, neither is it as pleasant as it could be. So when we consider what the purpose of God is for us, we want to listen to his voice, first of all. We want to listen to what the Lord is telling us. You might not like what he's saying, but you need to listen. You need to follow through in obedience to whatever he's telling you. You want to listen to the advice of godly, mature believers, people who've been there, who've been through it, who've been tested. Not that they've, arrived because they haven't left here yet, but they've been through what you're going through. Sometimes we think that someone has to understand what we're going through and we have to explain ourselves, but everyone has something that they have to go through. And the process for everyone is pretty much the same, no matter what it is. So just because I haven't experienced what you're experiencing doesn't mean that I haven't had to wait and trust God. Doesn't mean that I haven't had to grit my teeth and take a deep breath from time to time. It doesn't mean that I have not had to dig in with fortitude, and sometimes it doesn't mean that I haven't had to come out fighting. Literally take up the gauntlet and go into battle in warfare with the enemy and engage the enemy in battle. Because sometimes that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to be able to accept instructions from people where you've read. And sometimes it may seem you randomly stumble upon a YouTube video or teaching, but it's speaking to you, it's speaking specifically to you about what's going on in your life. You're going to have to follow those instructions. No gimmicks. And I'm not, these people who tell you, oh, do this, pray this prayer for, 30 days, 40 days, go on this fast to do this and do that. That's a gimmick. That's a gimmick. That's like going and buying a lottery ticket and hoping you win it on the first try. True, some people do. But are you going to gamble your spiritual walk on that? And then the last thing, when we come to setting goals and planning, none of that will make any difference unless you learn how to live sensibly. And I mean live within your means. When you have, don't act like there's no tomorrow. I'm not saying be afraid, but I'm just saying be frugal. God has promised to supply you with what you need because you have met the criteria for that. But He has promised you food, clothing, and shelter. What kind of food, clothing, and shelter is up to him. And it has a lot to do with you. But when you have resources, you need to make sure that you're doing right by the resources that you have. And the world calls it living within your means. Well, there are spiritual things, aspects in that as well. So you want to make sure that whatever you're doing is sensible. It lines up with the word. It's not extravagant to the point where you're spending or you're doing but you don't have. You're spending or you're giving what you don't have. And I know that there are people who say, well, it's your last, you can't pay your rent anyway, so send it to us. I don't advocate that. I don't advocate that. And I'm not going to tell you not to give if you feel led to give, but don't be guilted into giving. That I can tell you that. Don't be guilted into giving. And a lot of that is just a guilt. Okay? So, with that being said, I thank you so much for having joined us this week. And we look forward to seeing you next week on the Daily Devotionals.